Alright, this is Fakafon's review of Mega Man 64, Banjo Kazooie 64, and Shadowman 64. Oh wait, actually it's not in the right order, but I'm reviewing those three games. Yeah, as you can see, or hear, this is pretty much Nintendo 64 games, but anyway, let's go on to the game. Banjo Kazooie, and the other guy. So while I don't remember much of the game, I'll try to describe it as best as I can. So the basic plot of the game is that Banjo's sister gets kidnapped by a witch who wants to be pretty because she's really ugly, and she uses a machine to become pretty, well, if you lose the game. But if you don't lose the game and complete the game, you beat the witch and you take a vacation. Okay, I know I skipped a big part of the game, which is the game, but there's not really any subplots or development, as I recall. I mean, it's pretty much a straightforward line from kidnapping to beating the shit out of the last boss. So yeah, at the beginning of the game, you realize that the castle of the evil witch is like 1 mile from your house, and you never really noticed it, but it's okay because well, it doesn't matter. Just outside the castle, there's some kind of training ground when you can practice your moves before you go in the actual game. When you do the little trainings, you get a special reward that increases your health. So if you skip the training, you actually skip those health power-up, which really help you. So my recommendation, do the little trainings. Apart from that, Banjo Kazooie can actually learn some new moves throughout the game, so they can help have some better moves, like you can go on Kazooie's back, or you can do some other stuff which I don't really recall. The two levels I recall the best is the one where you're in a boat and there's like dirty water that makes you drown faster because it's dirty. And there's also the last level, which is like some kind of enormous tree that has all 4 seasons on it. That was actually my favorite level, but for some reason it was also the one that made me most irritated because I kept falling down all the time from false maneuvers and had to climb up the tree all again if I wasn't dead. There's also another thing that I recall, which I think you could transform into animals. Like, you could become a crocodile, or I think at some point you could actually become a bird, which is kind of ironic because you have a bird in your backpack. Isn't that mean? Like, taking your best friend and putting him, or her, not sure, putting the best friend in the backpack, like, yeah, I like you, hop, in the backpack. Oh well, I guess it's kind of like the Pokemons, I guess. They don't really complain about being stuck in those little small tiny balls, even though they're like gigantic sometimes. I don't get that with Pokemon. I mean, it's a show about kids who capture animals and then force them to fight, which means like like they destroy the environment just for their own personal pleasure of like getting them beat up. What are they, insane? Let's teach those kids about those true values. Capture animals, force them to fight. Yeah, so back to Banjo Kazooie. So about the characters, there's a Banjo, there's Kazooie, there's their little sister, there's the witch. I think the witch has some kind of sidekick which I can't remember. There's some kind of guy with a skull face, which is named Mambo, or something like that. There's a mole who teaches you the new moves, which I can't remember, and also he's like with glasses because you know he can't see. So I don't know why he has glasses. Oh well, doesn't matter. So that's pretty much it for Banjo Kazooie. It's kind of short, but my memory falls short too. So we'll go ahead and talk about the Shadowman 64, which ironically I don't remember anything about it either. And it's even worse, I remember like almost nothing. The like 3 main thing I remember is like when you jump, he does this move like like if jumping was like the most difficult task in the world, and even if it's a small jump, he will do so that's one of the things I remember. You could get a teddy bear that could allow you to teleport because that teddy bear belonged to your brother, and every time you use the teddy bear you hear the brother's voice that say, "Come on, Slowpoke!" You have a gun, and oh, about the gun, there's something I have to mention at the end of this review. And the other thing I remember is that at the beginning of the game you're like alive, but if you kill yourself or die or use the teddy bear, you go in the shadow world and become Shadowman. Now, I have some very, very negative memories about this game. In fact, I remember it was terrible. But I looked on the internet for some reviews and like how much it was good or bad. And I was surprised to see that it was actually pretty good. Like most of the reviews said it was good, like 8.9 on 10 and stuff like that. I couldn't believe my eyes, so I checked a few of the reviews, and I checked one of the reviews and it said the beginning of the game is actually very hard to go by and it's frustrating, but once you pass this part, the game becomes good. So I guess when I was young, I couldn't pass the first part of the game, which could be the frustrating part, so that's why I never liked the game. And also about the gun I talked earlier, the sound effect of the gun that Shadowman used was the same sound effect of my favorite gun in GoldenEye 64. And I'm not kidding, and today I think it's really stupid. I didn't want to play GoldenEye anymore for like a month just because of that. I got like traumatized by this just because the sound effect of a gun that I really liked was the sound effect of the gun of Shadowman, a game that I didn't like. Just because of that, I didn't want to play GoldenEye anymore for like a month. Isn't that stupid? So that's it about Shadowman. I'm sorry I can't be more clear, but yeah. So finally I'm gonna talk about Mega Man 64. Everyone will agree with me that the biggest flaw with Mega Man 64 is that it's too big. It's too big. You get lost all the time. Now, this is a common flaw in Nintendo 64 that places are too big. But some games actually got that right. You know, like Mario 64 was not too big. Star Fox was not too big. Shadowman I really can't remember, honestly. Some levels, like some games like Quest or Mega Man 64 were just way too big. You get lost all the time. There's also Hybrid Heaven, which was also really big, but there was actually some kind of reason about this, because in Hybrid Heaven you were in some kind of huge spaceship, so they were trying to make this look more intense, and also the big space allows you to fight easier, because the type of fighting in Hybrid Heaven, you want some space to fight. Or to flee, depending on what kind of what kind of enemy you're facing. Can't even say opponent. There you go, opponent. It's not so hard to say. Opponent. Man. Okay, enough about the opponents. So in Mega Man 64, the fighting in Mega Man 64 was okay. It wasn't great, but it wasn't like distasteful or distasteful. I mean, like annoying. It was okay. It was an okay fighting style. The graphics were nice. I mean, it was cartoonish, which was good. But like I said, it was just way too big. I couldn't navigate easily, and oh yeah, there was one thing that was cool is that a lot of games in Nintendo 64 had very few voice acting. Like, if I take Banjo, it was always like but like in Star Fox 64 in Mega Man, the people would actually talk. The voices in Mega Man 64 were kind of very, very girly. Like, I thought Mega Man was a girl at first, and I'm not kidding. Like, when I was a kid, I knew Samus was a girl after a while, so I said, is Mega Man a girl too? Today, it's really stupid to think that, but think at the time, when I was young and retarded. So, Mega Man 64, you can buy some power-ups for your gun that allow you to shoot, stronger or faster. Or what I thought was stupid, longer. Like, not longer, but yeah, you could shoot farther. What's up with that? I mean, it's not a bad idea, but at the same time, like, shooting farther? Anyway, most of the time I just took, like, power-ups and faster shooting. So, I didn't really get far in Mega Man 64. I think the boss where I was... the boss which I last saw was like a giant, some kind of bulldozer or something. I know there's a girl named Trombone that you kick her ass and she like cries. It makes you feel bad about it, that bitch. And yeah, that's pretty much all I recall about Mega Man 64. So this is the end of my review. I know I wasn't really precise. Yes. I know I wasn't really precise about the games. It was just a very quick overview. But yeah, it's because these were games that I played when I was a kid and I don't own anymore, or that I rented. So now that my Nintendo 64 is officially broken, and I mean officially, I really can't play those games anymore. So yeah, this is the end of my review. So stick around for my next review, which will be about